Hello and welcome to United Report. This is your home for all the latest Manchester United news, match updates, transfer stories, and in-depth analysis. Stay connected and never miss a moment. Subscribe now to stay ahead with everything happening at Old Trafford. Manchester United are used to Fernandes spearheading their rescue acts, only this time there were two Fernandeses. Carlos Fernandes, the assistant manager and set-piece coach, has taken plenty of flack for United's penchant for conceding from dead ball kicks. United's recovery against Ipswich Town was through three up the other end. Fernandes stood in the technical area and choreographed the United players before his namesake swung the ball in on two separate occasions in the first half. Bruno Fernandes claimed another direct assist for Harry Maguire 2 minutes into the second half. Maguire returned to United's half, raised his arm and clenched his fist, eliciting a relieved roar from the Stretford end. The glory was Maguire's, but his successor as captain, Fernandes, remains United's talisman 5 years on from his season-salvaging arrival from Lisbon. Fernandes' focus never wavered. At one moment, late in the second half, he paused for a much-needed breather. Fernandes debuted for United in February 2020, and he is 6 games shy of equaling Luke Shaw in United's all-time appearance list. Shaw first played for United in September 2014. Ruben Amorim treaded the same path as Fernandes and has practically had the opposite effect. All three bottom sides have gone 1-0 up at Old Trafford this calendar year, but United defeated all of them. Amorim rubbed his hands optimistically at 3-2 on the hour, sensing a shift in mood. The mood on the terraces was not too celebratory. We want Glazers out. Just like the Glazers, Jim Ratcliffe's a cot and 66, You're Taking the Parts were all aired by the Stretford end with United ahead. This was not a victory to boost the goal difference column ahead of a treacherous FA Cup tie against Fulham on Sunday. United are not lacking in resilience at least, and have now triumphed twice with 10 men under Amorim after the spirited cup tie at Arsenal. This was the first time United had scored twice in the first half of a Premier League match since Amorim arrived, also against relegation fodder Southampton. Yet the first 45 minutes were still teeming with chaos. 1-0 down in the 4th minute, with the Sir Bobby Charlton stand's roof leaking again and Patrick Dorgu red-carded. It had the makings of another chapter in the crisis manual, particularly when Alejandro Garnacho was hooked in the 45th minute. Garnacho stomped down the tunnel and Ipswich equalised within 2 minutes. The 20-year-old was United's most consistent attacking threat, and his withdrawal one of a handful of illogical selections Amorim has made. He attempted to console the winger, sodden from the rain, yet Garnacho stoically continued past him and towards the dressing room. A personnel change was understandable to counter Dorgu's dismissal, with no obvious disciplined left winger to turn to from the other starters. Sacrificing Garnacho over the impotent Rasmus Hojlund was not. When Hojlund had service, he dummied the ball for an Ipswich player. He was still treated to encouraging applause and reciprocated. United are so bad that Ipswich have a superior striker. Noussair Mazraoui reacted as if he was aware that Liam Delap is a City alumni when he barged him to the turf, drawing frenzied approval from United supporters. The atmosphere for a midweek fixture against a promoted team that some supporters could not shift their season tickets for was one of the best of the season. Lenny Yoro and Joshua Zirkzee were serenaded by the Stretford end. United conceded first for the 21st time out of 41 games this season, and this was the most comical. It took fewer than 3 weeks for Patrick Dorgu to be reduced to his teammates' level as he unwittingly gifted Jadon Philogene a tap-in. Whatever Andre Onana said, or didn't say, as he made himself available for the pass, he was within touching distance of Dorgu, who somehow could not see the 6 feet 4 inches goalkeeper in green. After the briefest of inquests, Onana offered supportive applause for his teammate. When Dorgu nervously nodded the ball into touch 6 minutes later, one of the Ipswich analysts bullishly clapped. Their mood changed when Axel Tuanzebe attempted a pot shot in the 77th minute. If Onana could be excused for the first goal, his dilatory reaction to Philogene's second was inexcusable. He smacked his palms confidently as he strode out for kickoff, but his glove work was awry again. Some United fans sarcastically cheered when Onana caught one cross. Ipswich captain Sam Morsy turned the game on its head by heading the ball past Alex Palmer. United were given a literal helping hand by goalkeeper Palmer, palming the ball back into harm's way once too often for Matthijs de Ligt's opportunistic finish. Diogo Dalot celebrated de Ligt's strike wildly. It was merely Ipswich, 18th placed and bound for the championship. Yet they are in United's slipstream these days. Ipswich's fans were audibly exasperated by their ponderous play with their side 2-1 down. Antony often left his Manchester United colleagues red-faced during training sessions due to his dazzling skills, according to former Red Devils coach Benny McCarthy. The ex-Blackburn Rovers striker joined the Premier League giants as an assistant to Erik Ten Hag at the same time Antony arrived, after he was signed from Ajax for a whopping £85 million in the summer of 2022. Despite the hefty price tag, the 25-year-old has failed to impress during his stint in Manchester and was recently loaned out to Real Betis. With his long-term future at Old Trafford hanging in the balance, McCarthy, who stepped down as a first-team coach last summer, expressed his disappointment over how Antony's career at United has unfolded, given his immense talent he has demonstrated behind closed doors. Antony has nice ways about him. He trains well. He'll really listen to his coaches because he's willing to learn, the former Champions League winner told ESPN. When a concept clicks with him, it really clicks. He has skills in abundance, and unlike most players of his ability, he's always willing to get back and help his defender, or to press and rob the ball. Antony's fiery temperament on the pitch was evident when he received a straight red card that has since been overturned on appeal. For Betis following their 2-1 win over Getafe on Sunday, which didn't surprise McCarthy considering Antony's background. I recognise his personality because he was born in a favela, and I grew up playing with gangsters in the opposition team or on the touchline, the ex-Premier League goalscorer said. He's got a good nasty streak in him. If you kick him, then be prepared to be kicked back. The 47-year-old expressed his surprise at Antony's initial struggles under Ten Hag and Ruben Amorim, recalling how the Brazilian used to dazzle his teammates in training. He added via the Manchester Evening News, "But I loved watching him in training, taking the mickey out of other players with the ball. He has so much dazzling ability that I was hugely disappointed that, simply because he was young, there were too many expectations and there's no time to settle in at United. It looked like he wasn't going to make it. Now he's showing people his real level. He's gifted." Despite his initial disappointment, McCarthy is thrilled to see Antony thriving at Betis, where he has scored 3 goals and provided 2 assists in his first 5 appearances. This is a significant improvement from his time at United, where he managed just 1 goal in 14 appearances across all competitions before his temporary departure in January. Patience with Rasmus Hojlund is running out at Manchester United, both internally and externally. The striker has now gone 16 matches without scoring, and with just 2 Premier League goals to his name since the season began, serious doubts about his ability and his Old Trafford future have emerged. Faith in him within the United camp is dwindling rapidly, with one coach offering a scathing assessment of the 22-year-old's performance against Tottenham 10 days ago. His recent struggles suggest that Roy Keane's initial concerns about him were on the money. Little over a year ago, the former Manchester United skipper, 53, lambasted Hojlund for not being clinical enough and lacking a real desire to get on the score sheet. "I'd be fuming with him if I was manager," Keane insisted after the £72 million Denmark international failed to score against League One side Wigan in the FA Cup back in January 2024, squandering several clear-cut chances. He wasn't clinical, he's missing his chances. We can say unlucky, oh dear. But he has to create opportunities for himself and put them in the back of the net. Stop messing about. A few days later, the Irishman tore into Hojlund again. He's been allowed some time now to bed himself into the club, into English football, but now we're talking about Manchester United. You have to have that real desire to score goals. These players just don't have the desire to score, and Hojlund has not shown it. There have been players that have come to Man United, and we've spoken about how unlucky they are, but you can't keep waiting. Hojlund reacted to Keane's criticism in the best possible way, scoring 7 goals in his next 6 games. However, His struggles in the 12 months since have largely undone the momentum he built during that purple patch. Shortly after arriving, Ruben Amorim insisted Hojlund was an important cog in his side, but urged the striker to improve his efficiency and possession. I think he has to improve more because sometimes he gives too many touches when he holds the ball, the United head coach said in November. It's very important for us because when we are in a low block, he is the guy to hold the ball and connect for transitions. He did that very well. He has those characteristics. He is aggressive in the box. He is a quality player, but he has a lot to improve. Hojlund joined United from Atalanta in 2023 in a deal worth an initial £64 million, which could rise to a whopping £72 million with add-ons. He arrived with just 18 league goals under his belt, a tally that he's since increased to 30. Continued interest in forwards like Victor Gyökeres, Victor Osimhen, Liam Delap and Jonathan David suggests the Red Devils are already planning for a future without Hojlund, who has failed to justify his price tag, while summer recruit Joshua Zirkzee has hardly helped lift the burden in front of goal either. The Dane potentially only has a few months left to prove himself at Old Trafford, but based on recent evidence, a turnaround seems unlikely.